Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Sandy, and we're two tenderfoot tourists. Welcome to episode 36, the one about vacation rental or hotel.
In the midst of us actually researching for our last episode that we had done, which was called...
Right, that was episode 35, the one about the father of modern tourism.
Thomas Cook.
Yes.
Yeah. Cindy from Missouri actually asked us if we knew anything about vacation rentals as opposed to hotels.
Right.
And she goes, that would make a good podcast. And we both said, you're absolutely correct. That would make a good podcast.
Right. So thank you, Cindy. We appreciate the idea.
So the big question is which do you choose, a vacation rental or a hotel?
Well, and of course, it depends.
It does depend.
I mean, for instance, for us, something that causes us to say, well, it depends, is the fact that we have our points we use. So for us, we choose hotel out of necessity.
Right. Well, even through the point system, and they're very hard to find. Through my point system, you can rent a rental home or something like that.
Or like a condo.
Like
we
a
have
condo.
Done that.
Exactly. But the problem is the points, I mean, they're very, very expensive.
Yeah, you spend, probably 3 times as many points as you normally
if
would
not
normally.
more. Mm-hmm. And so you're kind of limited to how long you can stay, and also the time in between, because you're building up points. It's longer before you actually get a chance to go on vacation. It'll be more than just a year. And I'm too impatient.
Yeah,
I agree. Both are. So anyway, when it comes to vacation rental or hotel, there are some pros and cons, right? And it's kind of difficult. I mean, it's not so difficult to distinguish the two after us doing the research and everything. But the thing is there's some similarities in between the two.
Well, and what it comes down to in the end, I mean, we're going to discuss it more in depth, obviously, but you just need to do the research.
Right.
Because it may all come down to researching that specific area you're wanting to go to, and that would be the best way to go in that town. Right.
Because the research, you need to base it upon like your family needs, right? What it is, why are you going on vacation? Is it to go see an attraction? Is it just to go to relax and just kind of be like off in the woods somewhere?
Or on the beach the whole time?
On the beach somewhere.
Yep.
Anyway, it just really all depends on what it is you're looking for.
Do you want to cook? Do you not want to cook?
Right.
I mean, there's
exactly.
so
How
many
long
things
are you going to be
factor in.
spending your time at this place?
Right. That's a huge one, because I know for us, if it's going to be short, then we're like, oh, we'll just eat out.
Right. Exactly.
If it's going to be long, though, what do we say? Well, if we eat out these meals, but we cook all of these meals.
Right.
So, yeah, I totally
Exactly.
get it.
So make a long story short, here we are. We're at a place where we're trying to figure out whether or not we're on our vacation. We're going to do a vacation rental, like a home or condo or something like that, or a hotel, like your typical chain of hotels. Like hotels like Comfort Inn, Clarion.
Right.
Holiday.
Right. And then, I mean, like stuff like what we dealt with the sea glass.
Right.
My question is this. When you're dealing with vacation rentals, do you deal with an individual? Do you deal with a company? How does that work?
Oh, that's a very good question. So there's many methods in which you can actually secure a vacation rental. And there's a lot of businesses out there. There's actual private management companies that actually take over these rental properties. Like, for an example, down there in the Gulf Shores, they have this one that is like up and down the coast. I mean, they have roughly 50 some odd rental places. I mean, you have your pick of the litter. It doesn't matter. Then you have places that people are personally renting out their own place, like through Airbnb or HomeAway, where they're actually renting out their own personal home or a room at their home. Okay.
I don't think I could ever go there. Mm-mm. I could totally rent somebody's house that they're not going to be there the whole time. Mm-hmm. I think I could handle that. But to rent a room with them still living there, or other people living in the same house and you're just renting their room, I just don't think I could do it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either. I mean, it's because one of the reasons why people do that is because of the fact they want to experience the culture, or they like the interaction with someone else. And usually, like Airbnb, for an example, I went on there and they actually build a profile of the people who are renting out their place so that you can see if whether or not you're going to be compatible with that person. And supposedly Airbnb, it takes care of the background screenings and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't want to go down that road because it gets really complicated, and that is like an entirely different podcast. Yeah, because, I mean, it gets really, really crazy.
If they're trying to match up people so that they would mesh well, then they're doing their research. You just need to make sure you're doing yours too.
Exactly. So, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say something that's really important for people to understand too is if you're dealing with an individual, that they're going to have very specific tastes on how they want their things dealt with.
That is also something to take in consideration. If you go through with something like Airbnb and Home Away or any one of those, there's hundreds of them out there. I don't know if hundreds probably. There's a lot of them out there. And if I go to like Airbnb, okay, I went on there. I went on to Airbnb, right? I've never used Airbnb. Neither one of us has. But a lot of people do, and they are really, really, they love Airbnb. And then you have people with horror stories, which is another podcast, probably for the same one as like whether or not you should use Airbnb. And a lot of people, they when you go on there and you check out the person's home and you see the person who's renting out their profile, because you can have a lot of options. You can say, listen, I want a home alone to myself, or you can have like, I just want a loft. I mean, you can be really, I mean, they have tree houses for rent on there, or tents out in the backyard, right?
Not a tent, but I would love a tree house.
But make a long story short, they have a set of rules. And one of the people on there, his set of rules was when you come in the door, do not walk in my house with your shoes on. He's very specific. And then whenever you leave during the day, because you know what, you are basically, this is their home and you're to treat it like they want their home treated. That means you do the dishes exactly and put the dishes away exactly how they wanted you to. What laundry detergent you use, whatever. What you're limited to what you can or cannot cook sometimes. Now, it's not straight across the board. Not everybody's like that. Some of them are like, hey, listen, just no parties and no pets.
Right.
That it's not all like that.
Take out all the trash when you're done. Throw the stuff in the laundry.
Yeah, but the prices, I'm like, seriously? I'm like, I can see why people would do it. I can seriously see why, because the prices, like I was looking for some homes over there in Colorado Springs. And we're talking like and there was enough room for the homes that would fit 2 families for $130 a night. Split that between 2 families. You know, I mean, that's El Cheapo. It's like a little over $60 per night. So per family. So and you get like 1,300 square feet. Right, a backyard to play in, and maybe a beautiful view out the window. The only stipulation you have to make sure is when you do your research, make sure it's the beds that you can fit in, because a lot of those beds are like queen size bed, and you know or a full size. I'm sorry, a queen
full
or a
size.
full size.
We've done that before, and it's terrible.
And
wasn't it when we went down to Alabama? We love that hotel.
Yeah, we love the hotel
because of location, and they're nice people. But the beds are little.
They are really, really stinky. The beds are comfortable.
They were comfortable, actually.
And the air conditioner's good.
But
the beds were super small.
We would have frozen if we weren't so close together.
That is true. That's so funny. But I mean, it's
pay attention to the deets.
Yeah, you have to really pay close attention. Make sure that, I mean, it'll even tell you the things that it's closest to. I would even recommend that once you get an address for the place, make sure you check it out on Google Maps, because you can see see how legit it is.
Yeah, and you wanted to have the street view where you can peek around literally at what the neighborhood and everything looks like. Yeah,
because some of the things that people say about renting out from private owners and stuff like that, rather than going to a rental property per se, you know, like a management company. They say that sometimes you can run into problems such as like the neighbors do not like the fact that you're renting out their place, so they make things really difficult for you.
Which you can't tell that from a picture.
You can't, but you can. That's usually how you find that out, is by reading the reviews. But usually, if you do a street view, you can see what the neighborhood looks like. I mean, if you think it's looking a little sketchy, you probably won't want to go there. So, I mean, we're not harping on the Airbnb or HomeAway. I think they're an excellent opportunity for people to actually get something out of their vacation that you probably wouldn't get in a hotel. But I think that also leads us to our pros and cons of actually having.
That's what I was going to say.
Vacation rentals, and we've made up some pros and cons list. Which, by the way, I think we can put that on our description and on the podcast. Anyway.
Should we start with the cons?
Yeah.
So that we end with the positive?
Yeah, let's start with so we got for the vacation rentals, we listed off 5 cons, right? Number 1, the con of renting a vacation rental. Okay. Depending on the circumstances, you could be paying more. Time of year, and if whether or not you're sharing accommodations with a family or friend, you can find yourself paying more, or you could be saving yourself money. But those are some circumstances you probably need to take in consideration, because I was looking at some property down there in Alabama, because we love Alabama, the Gulf Shores area, and depending on the time of year, you can actually get that stuff downright dirt cheap. Sean got some down in Panama City Beach, a condo that faced a beach, and he would send us pictures of him sitting at night watching the moon setting while he's sitting on his porch.
He said that he sat on his balcony.
Yes, the balcony.
And literally every evening.
Yep.
His family was inside doing things, and he'd sit on the balcony.
Yep.
That was his thing. Kind of like my morning ritual is to always go walk the beach.
Yep. And he got it super, super cheap. Super cheap.
But we're talking cons here.
Yeah, I mean, the con is in order to take advantage of those, you might have to go down in a season like in October, and it may not be nearly as warm as.
Okay, so the con is you may have to go in off season to get decent prices.
Correct.
Gotcha.
You got it. Number 2, you're responsible for cleaning up after yourself, such as laundry, dishes, etc.
Right. If you're the type of person that goes on vacation because you don't want to do anything, you want to be pampered the whole time, then it's probably not for you, because these places. From what I understood, from what I read, most of these rentals expect you to do up the laundry and stuff like that before you leave.
Yep.
Clean up. Mm-hmm. And I mean, really clean the house. And I'm assuming take the trash out and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And I can understand that. I think that makes sense. I mean,
It's only reasonable. I mean,
right.
Really think honestly, because they're really giving you a pretty good deal. You're getting like anywhere between 11 and 1,300 square feet,
right?
And plenty of space and room to roam.
And some of them don't expect you to do the sheets and stuff. They just expect you to strip the beds,
right,
and throw them in the dirty clothes basket, and then they take care of it,
right?
But I mean, it is going to be more work than it would be in a hotel. That's
right.
Just legit. I mean,
right.
Cooking. Cleaning up from that, the whole bit.
Exactly. Number 3, you can find yourself in a sketchy neighborhood if you don't do the proper research.
Yeah, like we talked about, need to use the Google Streets.
Google Streets,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And really look around, really scope it out,
mm-hmm.
and do your research. Look at the reviews, like
right.
you said also.
Yep. And number 4, borrowing problems. Okay. The house could have damages that could slow the enjoyment of your home.
Right. I mean, you might run into the grill not working properly.
Right. Or the oven. Or maybe problems with plumbing.
I should say hot water heater. Maybe it didn't heat up like you were hoping.
Yep. And we've read those before, haven't we?
Right. Exactly. I mean, in a hotel, most hotels, your hot water gets there pretty quick and you've got plenty.
Yep.
But you deal with stuff like that in homes, especially if you happen to rent an older home, you might run into that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, that is a very good point. So, I mean, those are some things you probably would find out whether or not you're reading the reviews of a particular place that you're choosing to rent from. So, like we've said probably, 100 times now, read the reviews, make sure that it's legit, Number 5. Now, this is really important to know, the cancellation policy. Okay, so check the cancellation policy. Check the cancellation policy, right? Because some of these places, they're not very forgiving. Not like a hotel. A hotel, you can do it like within the same day, within the same day you can, as long as it's before a certain time that you can cancel it and you get your money back. With vacation rentals, you have to read the fine print, because what will end up happening is you get some of them are kind of brutal, like from a week to you have to have a month before you cancel it. I think 3 months is one I saw. I think it's 3 months advance notice or 2 months advance notice if you want to cancel it. Otherwise, you you have to pay a penalty, basically, that you don't get your
forfeit your deposit.
Right.
That's what it's going to come down to.
Exactly. Be sure to read the rules on that. Okay. And then second of all, make sure that the house, if you have a pet, is pet friendly. Right, and make sure that it's something that other people have actually said in the reviews. It's like, yes, I had my pet here, and my pet
worked out great.
And it worked out great. And what you are responsible for in cleaning the place, and whether or not it's smoking or non-smoking. Because they could say that it's non-smoking, but if you're a smoker, then you probably wouldn't want to go there.
Right, exactly.
So that's 5. Those are the 5 cons that I came up with.
Well,
or we came up with, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
So now we can focus on the positive.
Right, I agree. Well, the first pro we have is the fact that it's a home away from home.
Right, it is. It is a home away from home, and that's something that makes this place those kind of things kind of special.
Well, I mean, I know for a big deal for me is I like certain clothes. I'm very picky. So there's only certain style of pants that I like to wear. And I tend to only have like 3 or 4 of those. And if you're gone a week, then you want easy access to laundry. Right,
exactly. Because these houses, if you pick them right, the majority of them have all the accoutrements.
Yeah, why are you using that word?
Accoutrements. I like that word, though. It has everything that you need that would be common in a house, like a dishwasher, a washing machine, an oven, a full-size refrigerator.
Right. And like we said earlier, most of them are going to have a grill if you're in a place that grilling out is popular.
Sure.
I mean, some of these, it's just amazing some of the little extras that you can have by just renting a home.
Exactly. So number 2.
Spacious.
Yes, they're on the most part. They're depending on what you do, again,
right,
and what you're looking for. You can have a very, very large area all to yourself.
It's funny because even with just 3 or 4 of us going, we've run into in the past, and I know it's actually bringing up something that's a con about the hotels, but it fits this. We've even taken lawn chairs up into our teeny tiny room because there wasn't enough area to sit.
Yeah, you're right. We have.
Yeah. And I mean, and even our little balcony at, again, one of our favorite places to stay in Orange Beach, the balcony is so tiny that you can't sit down in a chair on it. All you can do is stand on it.
Really? Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking space.
Right.
Space is a wonderful thing.
That even includes like a backyard for your pet to run in.
Yeah. Or your little children.
Or your children, right. And also, even if your dog or your cat is like, better yet, even your cat. I mean, it gives your cat plenty of room to run around in the house.
Right.
I mean, it's just those things that really that stand out as a pro for a vacation rental.
Another thing, I mean, I could go on and on about the whole room thing. We talk about just needing a little space. If you've driven straight through for 8 or more hours, then just to be able to separate yourself into different rooms is a real good thing, especially if you have teenagers.
That is excellent. Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you're tired and you want to go take a nap, everybody else doesn't feel like they have to leave.
That's right. Or that fits even better when you're talking about having an infant.
Oh, that's even better.
If you've got an infant or a toddler and you just need to lay them down, if you're in a hotel room, everybody either has to leave the room except for mommy, who gets left out of all the fun, or everybody has to be super quiet. Well, that's very difficult.
It is.
And mom and dad get their own bedroom, so they actually get privacy for vacation.
That is cool.
So, I mean, space.
It's a lot of pros right there, right?
Yes.
And this is all still pro number 2.
Yeah.
Right? So, number 3.
Oh, saving money on food.
That is so true.
It is true. I mean, we still have self-control issues because if we go to the coast, I want my seafood. So we plan to eat more food at the place that we can cook it at, but then we get excited.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is you have to remember that, rule of thumb, that if you're going to get a place like this and you're going to save money on food, at least allow one meal to be per day to eat, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, right, to eat out. Because if it's an area that they have like unique food,
right,
like the coast or up in Oregon or
in San Antonio.
Or San Antonio.
Oh my goodness.
Really good example. So, I mean, you probably wouldn't want to miss out on that. So that is our advice, is at least leave one meal.
I mean, if you go to Maine, try the lobster. It's
and then
a
write
logical
us
thing.
and then make us drool and send photos to us and show, look what we're having and you're not.
You're going to take me to Maine someday, and we're going to have lobster.
We're going to go to Maine and Oregon.
I want to go to Oregon so bad. Is there many places I don't want to go?
There's not very many places.
The more I think about it, I mean, the more we research, it's like, okay, yeah, I want to go here and here and here.
Right.
Here.
South Pole?
Oh, don't forget here.
Okay. Okay, so what are we on?
We're on 4.
Ah.
We're talking about the possibility of saving money by staying there and splitting the cost with somebody else, even
Which
maybe.
we've talked about.
Yeah, we've covered that. And, I mean, just to reiterate, in most cases, it does seem to work out cheaper than a hotel when you have somebody else to share the accommodations with.
Yes, it does.
And if you share a hotel with a buddy, even if it's just 2 people sharing a hotel, you lose so many things. Again, you're losing the privacy, that privacy, and you better get along well if you're sharing a room. Anyway,
that is true. You better get real, especially if the other one snores. So let me see where we did number 5?
That was number 4, so we're at number 5. Yeah, live like a local.
Sample of that community's culture and food, people, and entertainment. That's one of the main reasons why a lot of people like the Airbnb and HomeAway, and they like that because of the fact that they get a loft in the middle of New York. Right. And they walk downstairs and they go across to this tiny little market and they buy the food there and they see the locals and they talk to people from there. And
there's just also something about it. I mean, we haven't done this much. I mean, we did our little place. We stayed in Branson, and then we said the Sea Glass was the similar type of environment, but it was still in the tourist area.
Yeah.
To be able to stay in a rental home,
that's a good.
A lot of times you
point.
can stay in an actual. What do you call it? I've lost my word.
You were saying
residential area.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking about that. Yeah.
Right. You get to stay in a residential area a lot of times, and that means you don't have to feel like the tourist. You feel like you're kind of integrated. Right,
and that's exactly what they're looking for when they get a place like that. So, I mean, if that's something that's a pro for you, if that's something you're looking for.
And it would be for us because what do? We get to places, and we've usually already researched anyway, but we get to places and we start talking to locals as much as we can.
We do like to do that.
Where's the best food?
Yes. What is something free to do too? That's something else we do.
Free and cheap.
And cheap. Yep.
What is there to do free and cheap?
Okay.
And no, I don't want to go to a movie.
No, exactly.
I've done enough movies.
We got movies where we're from.
I can go to a movie in Missouri. Thank you.
They don't have oceans in Missouri. Sorry.
No, they do not. Or fresh seafood. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
they do have the Alamo Theater, which I am attached to at this point.
We're both attached to that place.
Anywho.
Let me see. We're on number 6, which I like this one. I like this one quite a bit. You can have the freedom and time. You have all the freedom and time you want. Wake up and eat at any time. Right?
I love
and
that
come
idea.
And go as you please.
I love that idea because sometimes you and I just wake up and we can't help it.
Right.
And that might be 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right. And a hotel does not have breakfast ready for you. It's 5 a.m.
If I wake up early,
Very
I can go in and if you teach me how, I could make coffee. I don't know how. But I could at least make you some breakfast.
Right.
And then wake you and you'd have your breakfast. You'd make your own coffee if I didn't.
Yeah.
And then we just go enjoy ourselves. Where you have to wait for them to start the breakfast. Or if you sleep in because you stayed out late, you have to worry about your own breakfast because they've already shut it down.
Correct. So, which gets over into the con list over on the hotel side, which comes later. Okay, so yeah, see, I love that one. I mean, you have the time and the freedom to do whatever it is that you need to do or have to do. I love that situation, especially when we start getting into the cons and the pros over there for the hotel. They'll understand even better. Waking up and eating any time, come and go as you please. It's awesome. Okay, number 7, pro for vacation rental.
Locations are more diverse. I kind of touched base on that a little bit about the fact that you could end up being a little more residential, but I didn't talk about the fact that it could get you closer to action. I sort of did. When I talked about the fact that when we go to Yosemite someday, there's another place I want to go. But that maybe at that point we'll look for a rental.
Yeah.
And see if we can get close.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
To travel hours to get to where we want to spend hours seems a little bit much. But
right. Well, and then on top of that, diverse locations could also mean isolation. That means you
Yes,
could have
they
something
can.
way off into the woods.
Yep.
And they actually, there is places you can do that at.
Are there rental locations on islands
I'm sure there are.
away from everybody?
I'm sure.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. But number 8.
Could be a lot easier on your pet.
Yes, we've covered this a little bit. We talked about it.
To be able to let a dog run in the yard and to also have room to move around in a house is really good. And for people who travel with their cats, I think that is really different. Can't imagine trying to travel with my cat, but we do have, Sean's family has a cat they walk on a leash, so I shouldn't be too surprised. She also rides in the basket. She also rides in the basket on the front of Haley's bike. So,
That's true.
I mean, seriously.
Some very good points there. But also on top of that, if you're a person who owns a pet, like a dog or something like that, and you take him into a hotel, you're risking on it waking the neighbors if it decides to bark in the middle of the night. So, so that being said, I think that was a pretty good pros and cons list. So do with what you want with that list. You know what? I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's things that we missed.
I do want to say this. You know, we talk about it not waking the neighbors if it barks. Well, also, there won't be as many noises to get your dog riled up and worried.
Yeah.
Because you don't have doors slamming, you don't have,
That's
all
good
those
point.
things going on. So the dog is going to be a lot more at ease.
Right.
Long
Exactly.
story short, right?
And your cat may not be as skittish.
Exactly. I keep forgetting the cat.
I know. So now we go to the hotel's
Cons.
cons. We're going to start with the cons.
Obviously, we've already touched base on these because of the fact that we keep talking about the pros of the other side. But first of all, prices may not equal the room size.
Yeah, the average size of a hotel room is about 325 square feet. That's the average. Now, there could be more.
Insane.
But that is extremely small.
And did you ever read what the average size of a rental house is?
Yeah, it's depending on what you're looking for and how many people, you can get one that are like, I mean,
I was thinking it was like 1,300 square feet.
You like on average, it's like about 1,300 square feet is what I've been found. I know that is like an average, but
right.
that,
It's hit and miss, and you just have to search. But
exactly, you can get ones that are really, really big, and then some
you
that are
can
much
rent
smaller.
tiny homes.
Yeah, you can.
And like you said, tree houses and
Yeah.
tents, and
It's amazing what you can rent on that thing. So, yeah, so a con is the prices that you're paying for this room may not equal the value of the room size.
right, exactly.
So that was number 2. That was number 1. This is number 2 of the con of the hotel.
Thin walls. Oh my gosh! And I would even go further because you're talking about thin walls being with the snoring
Right.
and the other noises that people make and the slamming doors and talking and pets or children.
Yeah.
But also the running around up above you.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually dealt with that
We have.
in a condo.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't like that. And that's one of the reasons why whenever I sleep in a hotel, I throw on the ambiance so that it drowns some of that out, because you
Right.
got people all hours of the night slamming doors, or they're getting into arguments, or they're just talking or having their television too loud.
Right. And, they're probably thrilled to death because they can probably hear your ambiance, but that's okay. It's steady, so at least it's not slam. Bum, 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 bum,
I got a
slam.
story for you. Yeah, that's no joke. It is better than that. I've actually had it was, I don't know, probably 12:30 at night, and I had the front desk call my room saying, "Hey, we have a neighbor complaining. He's thinking that maybe you're just letting the water run in the tub like that." I go, "No, it's my ambiance. I have to sleep with it on because people wake me up as they're walking up and down the halls, and they're doing their customary things that people do in a hall or in a hotel." So they go, "Oh, okay, I'll tell them." So, and then I never heard a complaint out of that. So
They were just worried.
They were worried that it was, so so that just right there tells you that those walls are thin.
Oh, yeah, you can hear everything. So remember that they can hear you, too.
Exactly. Very good. So number 3, sometimes you're stuck with a meager breakfast or unhealthy options and a limited time to eat it in.
I will say almost every time, I'd say 99% of the time, I'm just going...
Yeah. Well, because you get like these steamed bagged eggs. Okay.
Right.
You don't get normally. I mean, I've been at hotels where, it was
Now, we
really
went to that
good
buffet on the way back from Myrtle Beach, And when we stayed at that hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And this buffet is crazy.
It is really, really good. I mean, you had all
huge,
kinds of
stuff in there. It was wonderful. And I think it's like $7 a person.
Yeah.
But it
wasn't continental, no.
Well, and we didn't have to pay for it.
Oh.
It came with our room.
I did it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
we were
awesome.
handed a voucher.
Okay.
And I think we had to pay maybe for one person.
Oh.
But
it was worth it.
Yeah. It was so good. We actually all got what we wanted, where
bacon,
usually
eggs, sausage.
What you're asking for is, like you said, the steamed eggs, some sausage
links,
that is just okay. The sausage links usually I'm pretty happy with, but sometimes they have sausage patties that are okay. Yeah, the gravy's not great. A waffle maker, little yogurts.
Yeah, I mean, the options, you don't have any healthy options at all for
Frankly, most of it is a carb option.
Yeah.
Because there's also cereals and stuff too, but it's just not satisfying.
No. And then make things worse that you have a limited time in order to eat it. If you're a person that stays out late and you came back to the hotel and you wake up, like you get to bed at 3 in the morning and then breakfast ends at 9, so much for that continental breakfast because you know you're going to sleep in past 9.
Right. Well, and the other factor, if you think about it, since there's a time limit, you also deal with crowds.
That's the other issue, which I wrote down is number 4.
And oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even look ahead. Well, and the fact that there's crowds also is going to mean some of their food might run out and you won't get what you want.
That is exactly right.
Or you have to wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes in line to use a waffle maker. We've had to do that too.
Yes, we have. And the waffles aren't that good anyway.
Nope.
Because they're really, they're kind of crispy. They always get overcooked.
I always get behind the person that doesn't bother to spray the thing.
Yep.
So then they're sitting there digging their waffle out forever, and then I get the nasty waffle maker.
Yep.
So yeah, that's fun stuff.
So that's a con. That was number 4 that Sandy just went into the tangent with.
With the crowd, you actually talked about 2 places being crowded on number 4, and that was also the pool.
Yes.
Right. Some of these places, they have their own pool, which is the vacation rentals have their own pool, which is really great. But these hotels, you're sharing with everybody in the place.
Yes. Yeah. So number 4, crowded pool is a con in a hotel.
And I know for me, I mean, okay, and we've dealt with this with our own children even, where
rowdiness on the pool,
we don't swim a lot, you and I, but we loved watching our kids play.
Yeah.
But the hard part was trying to find them sometimes, and it got scary a few times.
Yes, it did.
Kyle used to be like Mr. Run up the steps, jump in, run up the steps, jump in, run up the steps, jump in. So he was underwater as much as he was out of the water.
Pretty much.
And you couldn't find him, and it was so intimidating.
Yeah, and that is also an issue because that was a large pool. I remember that. That was in
and
Orlando.
We were watching. I mean, but we also had little Olivia and tall Derek, and we were trying to watch everybody. And they stayed pretty close to each other. But when you've got one that moves as quick as Kyle did, that can get scary.
Yep.
And Olivia, oh my goodness. Remember what she used to do in the pool? She wanted to go around the whole edge of the pool hanging on the whole time.
She had a fear of water.
Yes, she was scared to let go. And she had a life jacket on. We always gave her one. But she would hold on to the side and go around the entire outside of the pool, which I think annoyed a few people who wanted to just linger on the side of the pool. Because she just kind of walk up to the side and stare at them until they moved.
She gave them a dirty look sometimes.
Yeah, she would scowl. She was little.
She was my little pistol. Okay, so number 5, eating out. Okay, because of the fact that you're not saving money on cooking your own food like you would in a vacation rental, all you have is like a microwave and maybe a refrigerator.
Yeah,
in
if you're
rooms.
lucky. I mean, that's something we want every time is a microwave and a fridge.
Right, if we're going to stay in a hotel,
But we don't always look out that way.
No, and so you're going to find yourself putting out more money.
Right, because you're either going to go to restaurants or you're going to get room service. And, oh my goodness. Room service will eat you alive.
Yes, it will. What we ordered one time when we were at that one hotel in Orlando.
I don't even remember what we ordered. The food was good.
The food was good, but it wasn't worth the amount of money that they were asking for. Plus, then you have to tip the guy who brought it to you. And
right, exactly. And, frankly, we could have probably enjoyed a lot cheaper meal by going just to a regular restaurant, all of us.
True.
And it would have probably been a fancier meal, because I'm pretty sure we probably just ordered some kind of sandwiches.
Yeah, it was like sandwiches, yeah. Number 6.
Maybe charge for Wi-Fi and parking.
Right.
So that is something to factor in. Wi-Fi is always, has been that way for a while now, where a lot of places are starting to charge for Wi-Fi.
Right.
And you need to be prepared also that a lot of places are going to not having a breakfast at all.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And especially if they have a restaurant, they're not going to give you anything free for breakfast.
No, but I mean, on the most part, parking is always depending on where you're at. Like if you're going to New York, yeah, you're or Chicago or LA or any one of those things,
right?
Most generally, I'd be hard pressed to know if there's any place in those locations that actually has free parking. If you know there's a place out there in any one of those places that has free parking that comes with your hotel stay, drop us a line.
Right.
So anyway, make a long story short, our Wi-Fi is not free and our parking is not free.
You know, it's kind of interesting because in Myrtle Beach at the Sea Glass, they did have free parking.
Yes.
And I heard that even around there, that was very rare. You did, however, have to walk across the busy street.
Yes.
And then across the parking lot.
Yeah. And
then you're at the parking garage. Now, that being said, we could see our car from our room.
That was a benefit.
But our room was on the 14th floor.
Yeah. So if something was happened to it, it'd take a long time for us to get down there.
Yeah,
to
it would be gone. Or it'd be, they'd strip the sucker before we could get to him. What does that say for us?
Yeah, no joke.
We are not physically fit.
No, we're not. Okay, so number 6 is that you may be charged for Wi-Fi and parking.
Right.
When you stay in a hotel.
Number 7, you pay for laundry and worry about leaving it unattended.
And they can get pretty expensive. Like $2.25, $2.50 or something like that for having your clothes dried.
Right. And unless you bring your own detergent.
Right.
Their detergent's going to be really low level stuff. It's not going to be that good. But the biggest deal is you have to sit there.
Yep.
That or you take the chance of leaving it, and I don't know that I'd want to leave my stuff with a bunch of strangers.
A lot of people do.
I know.
And, it's if you don't feel comfortable leaving your clothes there, that is something to think about. Also on top of that, if you want to have your laundry sent out, that is also cost you extra. So
exactly.
So when you have a vacation rental, at least you know they'll have if you plan it correctly, you would have your own washer and dryer there to actually take care of your clothes at any time. You know what? I just thought of a benefit of actually having a vacation rental. You could limit the amount of clothes you take with you.
That's kind of what I talked about before about the fact that I usually don't have enough pairs of jeans or shorts or whatever to last me like 7 days or more.
Right.
I usually have 3 or 4 pair. And
you can pack light and
yep.
Yeah, that is a big benefit. We just take one set of clothes and wash them every night and walk around the house nude. It's okay.
No, it's never okay. You're really weird. You're weird.
Don't think you didn't think it. I know you did.
I didn't think it because you're the one. You're the creepy one.
I am not the creepy one. Ooh. Okay, she had that coming.
I still don't know what you did to her.
I'll show you later.
That sounds really inappropriate.
Okay, so pros of actually staying. There is some pros. Granted, we gave you a laundry list of 7 different cons of actually staying at a hotel. But actually,
there are pros, right?
There are some major good pros there.
Right. Prices can vary widely. Peak and down seasons, vacation packages. Sometimes hotels include theme park packages also.
That's right. And that's some of the benefits you're going to have to take in consideration. If you're a person who's going to spend the majority of the day at the theme park, why would you want a house where you know what I'm saying?
You're not even going to be there and enjoy it.
Right.
I can definitely relate to that because when we went on our biggest vacation we ever went on, when we tried to fit way too much into 9 days. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I needed a vacation from my vacation.
We totally did when we got back. We were all tired. Even our children said, "Can we go home? We're ready."
And that is something,
yeah,
right?
that's huge. But we stayed in the fancy stinking hotel, and I think we've talked about this before, that it was way, 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 way nicer than we needed. And we weren't hardly there.
Yeah, we were hardly there.
We were so busy. We were not hardly in the room. It was unnecessary to have.
It was a very unbalanced
fancy
trip. Really, it was.
It was. If you're going to spend the majority of your time active and out of that hotel, then don't go, or the vacation rental, whatever you decide, then don't go to one.
Yeah, don't go to one.
Do the basics.
Right. You need a place to sleep and a place to take a shower.
Baby. Safe and clean.
Right. Safe and clean. Exactly. That was number 1 pro of actually using a hotel for your vacation. Number 2 is
the free breakfast. We kind of dogged it a little bit because, we were saying the cons about it not having a lot of choices, but what it comes down to is if you want it simplified, if you want just something to get your day started,
right.
The free breakfast is free, people.
Which is actually, if you think about it, is actually, you know what? I forgot to mention something about pro number 1. Because we did lightly touch upon it, but it says, the peak season, up season, down season, stuff like that. Vacation packages are actually hotels. A lot of these hotels, if they're especially close to a theme park, will offer packages for the hotel and to the theme park.
Right.
So you can actually get some really reasonable prices as a package.
And we've talked recently about how high the prices are getting at Disney and Universal. So to be able to get a good deal through your hotel.
Exactly. And if you book way, way far in advance, sometimes, most generally, you get a lower price on that hotel room because they're filling that void there in that room and they want your business. So anyway, make early booking sometimes can earn you a better deal on a room.
Yep.
So you don't get that typically from a vacation rental,
right. Vacation rentals.
Airbnb or something like that. You don't get that.
I think they kind of keep their set prices for the most part, don't they?
Pretty much.
I mean, I'm sure that when they have really down season, they probably do a little bit better there, but.
Exactly. Like if you were to go to like I mentioned before to some of the vacation condos and stuff down there in Alabama, if I book it in 6 months in advance, they'll actually give me a discount. We're talking like a couple $100 off the total.
Right.
And so, I mean, in that essence, yeah, you do, if you book in advance for that, you get a discount. Let me see. So we just covered Pro 1 and 2.
Right. Now we're on number 3, which is that they a lot of times have a pool.
Right.
May be indoor or outdoor, and some of them will have both.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes they're heated.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of pros to actually having that sort of thing. If you just want to spend some downtime at the hotel where you have a place to sleep and you got a restaurant next door and your kids want to play in the pool, hey, you got just a great place, right?
Right. And I mean, there are vacation rentals that have pools of their own, but I'd say there's probably it's going to be a lot more likely to have one at a hotel.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because the price is definitely going to increase if you have a pool available to you.
Yeah. The more you want in your vacation rental, then the more you're going to be paying for it for sure, because they can put that price on there. And also on top of that, I didn't mention in number 3 as a pro for a hotel, but a fitness center.
Right. Exactly.
A fitness center, an indoor pool, outdoor pool, and a fitness center. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and because of that, I have to go back and actually mention a pro to a vacation rental, that sometimes they have equipment there already that you can use.
That's
whether
right.
indoor or outdoor. I mean, some places, some rentals will have game systems.
Oh, yeah.
And some games already there, maybe even some DVDs or Blu-ray.
Something for the kiddos or for the kid in you.
Some of them will have bicycles or kayaks.
Yep.
That are included. Now you want to check because sometimes those are theirs and you're not to use them.
Right.
But a lot of them actually have those available for you to use.
Right. Which I think is awesome.
I do too. It just makes me want to do it more.
I know it does. I know. That is a pro for a vacation rental.
True that.
Now we're back to the hotel pros.
Okay, yeah. So we've done 1, 2, and 3. Number 4 is sometimes hotels have shuttle services.
Right.
And that is really convenient. We've actually utilized that. Was it that big trip?
It was one of the big trips. We took 2 of them down there in
one
Orlando.
of our big Orlando trips, we actually utilized the shuttle service.
To Universal Studios.
Right. And the catch was we were held to their schedule, but, it was fun. I still remember waiting for the shuttle in the last day we stayed, I think, that we waited for the shuttle. And we were tired, so we just went on down to the shuttle area to sit and wait. And Olivia she was little. Was she 5?
I was going to say she was 6, but
maybe
5.
She started playing with this little girl, and they were just twirling around this pole together. And we realized that the little girl didn't speak English.
Yep.
And her family did not speak English.
Nope.
And they had the greatest time. I think that was her most fun she had on the entire trip. With a little child that all she knew was what was fun.
Right.
It was the cutest thing we've ever seen.
You remember the shuttle, the time that we took the shuttle and we shared seats with the person who was from England?
Yeah.
And she was there with her daughter as well?
Yep.
And that was kind of cool.
It was really neat. So when you deal with a shuttle, if you're an outgoing person, you get a chance to meet all kinds of people, and it can be so much fun.
It is. I agree. So, you know what? Yeah, that may be something of interest if you decide to, as you might list as a pro for staying at a hotel.
Especially you should consider, if you don't know your way around town, that not only are you going to save yourself time, you're going to save yourself gas.
Right.
And you're going to save yourself headache, because getting confused and lost and having the person next to you trying to tell you where you should have been turning, and it can a lot of times cause a lot more stress.
It takes off a lot less stress. I agree. So, shuttle service. The hotel sometimes provides that, and that's awesome. That is definitely a pro. So number 5.
Room service. We said that in like a negative way a while ago, but that's only if that is not what you want to do.
Right.
If that is your plan and you have the finances to enjoy doing that, then that can be a big perk to not have to go anywhere, to not have to cook.
Right, exactly. Yeah, if you budget for that sort of thing for room service, that's possible. But there's also things that that you have that are free. For instance,
the concierge.
Concierge.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, we have utilized them like crazy. We really utilized them when we were down in
Daytona. No, not Daytona.
Biloxi.
Biloxi.
Yeah, when we were in Biloxi, we really talked to them and asked them a lot of questions, and they were wonderful.
They were very good. And also free clean towels. Someone does the towels for you.
Right. You don't have to worry about cleaning to have enough towels that day. You just say, can I get a couple more towels? And you're covered.
Right. So number 6 pro for staying at a hotel.
The free toiletries. We've talked about in past podcasts about the fact that if you go on your trip and you've forgotten something, like a razor or
shaving cream.
Yeah, or deodorant. That a lot of times
toothbrush.
You bet they'll have those down behind the counter. Now, not all places do, but a lot do.
Right.
And they'll just hand you one for free. Is it one you're going to use for the next month? Probably not.
Just for that evening, maybe.
Exactly. It's just enough to get you by, and that's what it's meant to be for. But if you forget those things when you're staying in a vacation rental, then you got to run to the store. So that is definitely a pro for hotels.
Definitely a pro. And on top of that, an endless amount of toilet paper.
Yes.
And shampoo.
Brought to you.
Brought to you. Sorry, we're out of toilet paper. Could you bring him some? How many do you need? 16. I'm a gusher. Okay, number 7.
That is not even close to, I don't have any past that.
Oh, I have it right there.
Go for it.
Okay. Pro number 7 for the hotel is possible perceived security. In other words, that you feel a little more secure. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that your hotel you're staying at is actually secure, but you do have that perception that you feel a little more secure, more secure than you would in some stranger's home that you had just rented out.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, because again, we talked about this. You don't know if the neighbors really want you there.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could check on the crime rate. But you still don't know what's out there.
Right. And I think we can use like Sea Glass Tower as a good example.
That place was set up genius, though, the way they had that set up.
I never felt so secure at a hotel. I mean, really, honestly, it was a very nice hotel. So we can't brag enough on the Sea Glass Tower.
Well, and the reason that it felt so secure, and it really was, is there was no way to get to the upstairs rooms without the front desk being able to see you.
Right.
And you could come through the back, but to get up there, you had to come to the front elevators.
Yeah.
So it really was quite secure.
Yeah.
There was no back door that you could go on the outside, staircase, none of that.
Right. So, but I mean, you have a perceived security that you would get from a hotel. And that was 7 pros. And I know there's probably more, and I've said this before, but I'm sure there's more pros, and cons to actually staying at a hotel. And also there's probably more pros and cons to actually staying at a vacation rental.
I've got another one actually we didn't think to talk about, and it could be a con for a hotel and a pro for a vacation rental.
What's that?
If you are going with a group of friends or family and you need multiple rooms at a hotel.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You can't guarantee that you'll be side by side.
Right.
You can't guarantee you'll be on the same floor. We ran into that when we went to St. Louis, remember?
Yes.
We had the one room like 2 floors up.
Right.
And then the 2 adults' rooms
Right.
The one room was for 5 girls.
Right.
All of our teenage girls, and we're staying together. But we couldn't guarantee that we could all be on the same floor. We just couldn't make it happen.
Yeah, because we wanted joined rooms. Sorry, we don't do that. I mean, it's not when we were trying to do it.
Right.
It was not possible. There was too many people, too many rooms that we needed. Yeah, that's a very good point when it comes to a con for staying at a hotel. With a vacation home or rental home,
right?
The positive thing is you get your space, plus you all get to be together.
Exactly.
That is the plus. That is the pro. So that can just throw that in the pros column, make that number 9.
Yeah, we could just keep stacking them up because there's just so many good ideas.
So I think we've covered this pretty good. I hope that everybody find this beneficial. I know that we've learned a lot for whenever we are going to go on a vacation. And consider maybe getting a vacation home as opposed to a hotel.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I thought it was really interesting. And like I said, this one really affected me because we never even consider it. It never even crossed our minds. I mean, when we've thought about going on vacation with Sean and his family stuff, yeah, sure. It's been something we thought about, but we always go right back to the fact that we're going to use our points.
Right.
So we had never really delved into it. And now it just makes me want to so bad.
I know. So make a long story short, I think we've covered this as best as we possibly can.
I do too. I would hope that everybody found it very informative.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you guys have your own stories about your own rental, drop us a line at tenderfoottourist@gmail.com and tell us, some stories of what it was like to rent out or to rent one of these properties. We would will you use Airbnb? You use HomeAway? Is there another one we didn't mention on the podcast that you use? Tell us all the nitty gritties.
Yeah, we definitely want to know everything we can about that.
Yeah, and the pros and cons that you made that we may have not had on the list. We would love that too.
Yeah, you may save us a lot of headache later when we want to do one.
That's true. Specifically if you have ones for the Colorado Springs or the Estes Park, Colorado area.
Right, because right now we're checking into that vacation for this summer with my parents.
Right.
And ideally, we would like to do something like that. Right now, it doesn't seem feasible. We think we're going with our points, but you never know.
Well, for future reference.
Depends on what y'all tell us. I've got a question.
What's that?
Is it time yet for a shout out?
I think it's time for a shout out.
Shout out. So who's been listening?
People.
Oh, well, good.
Isn't that nice? People are listening.
Are you being bigoted towards animals? Marco listens.
Marco's not listening. He's passed out on the couch. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's go through the list, shall we?
We shall.
We shall. Mountain View, California, Springfield, Missouri, Joplin, Missouri, Graysonville, Maryland, Hendersonville, Tennessee, Decatur, Illinois, Glenwood, Iowa, Louisville, Kentucky, New Bedford, Massachusetts, Deerfield, Wisconsin, right? We have people in Spain, United Kingdom, Sweden, Bulgaria, Japan, and Finland.
Cool.
And I think Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Lee Summit, Missouri.
Go Missouri. I know I keep saying go Missouri, but
I'm just happy someone's listening right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you didn't say, okay, here's a list of our listeners. Joplin, Missouri.
That's me.
Thanks, guys.
I listen to my own podcast. I didn't count myself as one. That's hilarious.
We're thankful if you're even the only one, but
yes.
I'm glad that there's multiples because it is disturbing if it's not. Oh, boy.
Okay, so listen. This is a good episode. I thought it was very, very informative, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And research was fun, too.
It was. I was really, really intrigued. And where a lot of our sites that we went to and stuff, they said the same things a lot of times. There were so many little things that came through. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And listen, if you learned a lot too, drop us a line at twotenderfoottourist@gmail.com or find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Write us, share with us your vacation stories. We love to hear them. And thank you so much for listening to episode 36, the one about
vacation rentals or hotel.
Yeah, I'm Steve.
And I'm Sandy.
Until next time,
stay tender.
There you go.
We did it.
We did it. We finished it.
Oh, goodness.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm Steve and Sandy's daughter, and I'm a cat my dad wrapped around my finger. Two Tenderfoot Tourists is a weekly family-friendly podcast. To get in touch with Steve and Sandy and chat about this podcast or even your travel experiences, simply email them at tenderfoottourist@gmail.com or find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Until next time. Oh, no.
Who are you?
No. Thank you again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of... sorry. Thank you so much for listening to...
Episode 36.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to episode 36. The one about...
You threw me off so bad.
I'm supposed to say the one about...
Okay,
and then, okay.
I'll be okay.
Okay. It's okay.
Okay, say the one about.
Okay. Hold on, I have to start at the beginning now. You messed me up too. Okay, pay attention. Are you paying attention now? Are you here? Are you...
You're going to keep making me laugh and I won't be able to do it.
Okay, all right, I'll stop. All right.